Hello everybody, today we're going to start off a new series on Eador Imperium. I would estimate that I have about 400 hours in the game. It's probably one of the games I play the most in all my Steam library. I did a series a couple of years ago which was very well received, and several people have actually asked me to do another series on it. I guess they really enjoyed listening to my ranting and my clumsiness, because I wasn't really good at the game, and to be honest, after 400 hours, I still don't think I'm really good at the game. 400 hours is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this one. Well, I did decide I'm going to do another series. Use a little bit of a different approach and see where it leads. And hopefully you guys will be here to join me in my journey. So let's get started. We're going to do the sandbox again. New sandbox. We're going to play at a competent difficulty. I think my playthrough I did as beginner, and if you play at beginner level, the AI doesn't do anything. He just sits in his castle and there's really no challenge. Maybe to a lot of people, competent is also very it's also very easy, but to be very honest, I played it at higher levels. I'm not going to say that I was never able to succeed, but it just, for me, it's not much fun to play at a higher difficulty, because the game just gets completely skewed. The AI is really isn't really great in this game, and it's the only thing that I have as a criticism on this game, because for the rest it's really an amazing game. But the AI simply isn't really that great, and at higher levels, in order to offset that, the AI gets a lot of bonuses. I just didn't enjoy it much. So that's why I'm going to stick to the competent level. I'm going to still try to make it interesting, of course. Let's see, I'm going to keep actually the booster rituals on. Not sure how much I'm going to use them in the game, but I do want people to see kind of what they are like. And might be very interesting. Now, the starting map size, I'm going to take small. Tiny is just, it's just too little. You might have your enemy hero in your property, on your property or in your castle within 10 turns, and it's just not really what I want to do right now. I just usually do common world. Let's have a look here. Okay, this looks good. Let's see what we get. And again, about the higher difficulties. At higher difficulties, you usually end up with really bad terrain, especially the first ring around your castle, which is kind of crucial for you to expand and generate some income. And I really don't want to be too negative about it, but it can be done. So I have managed to do it at higher levels, but it was more like a stressful experience than really a challenge for me, and maybe that's just the way I am, but it wasn't really great. So let's see what we got here. We got some free settlements. Okay. Our current income is actually very nice, it's plus 25. So what I usually do is, before I start actually getting my hero, I will start building some structures to make sure I can actually get the hero alongside some improved troops, because he usually starts with some kind of weaker troops, but so that's what we're going to do. I'm very likely going to play another scout. It's because it's, in my book, probably the easiest class to play. I've played it with warrior and with a wizard and the mage. And the mage is, I might be wrong, but I think the mage is probably really a difficult class to play. The warrior it's pretty decent, but the scout is for me just, I don't know, most enjoyable. Alright, so since we're going to play a scout, I do want to get some beefy guys. So I usually go for the swordsman. We'll just line this up. So we're going to build towards that. And possibly also a healer. I do have to say that I'm not planning really to do like a tutorial about the game. It's a tutorial just about this game would probably take 50-60 episodes. Go into every detail, and I very likely don't even know all the details. It's just so massively big. And it's just very, very impressive. And also, like I said in my first series, it's for me, the game really... I know the game has some setbacks. There's some complaints about people that deal with bugs and error messages, and I don't really have too much of an issue with that. But for me, mostly, it's the AI. It doesn't ruin my fun. It's just a little bit frustrating at times. But even with all that taken into account, I think that the game is really, really underrated for what it really offers. That's also the other reason why I'm actually doing another series, because back in November of 2020, so almost a year ago, the creators of this game, Snowbird Studios, actually announced that they are working on a sequel in the Eador, is it universe or metaverse or whatever you call it these days. So they're going to be doing a sequel, which is of course very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that turns out to be. Yeah, I think this game is really, really underrated. It's really popular in Russia. I mentioned this as well in my in my first season. I had to I actually have to giggle about this, because at that moment I did not know that the creators, the development of this game, developers, that they are actually from Russia, which explains the huge Russian interest in this. For me, it's, the whole Eador series is really very impressive and very, I think, underrated. So, well, anyways, enough talking. I'm sorry about that, but let's get going. So I will also line up potentially a healer. Nope, I did that wrong. So there we go. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. I did not find a relationship between the size of the city and the defending force. So you have a free settlement here, and if you look, this is a village. It has, 5 blue dots. So I did not find a relationship between the number of troops defending it when you're trying to capture it, compared to, I'm not sure if you have a smaller one. This also looks like a village, I think. It's also a village. This one is smaller, so this is a hamlet. So again, I'm not sure if there's any relationship. You would expect less troops here, but that's not the case, so we need a little bit of luck there. Yeah, let's just do the turn. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Alright, we'll construct that. Because if you take a hero right now and you get your beginning troops, you just have the maintenance that is eating away at your gold income. And there's really no need to do that. So, since we're not planning to do anything right now anyways until we get the swordsman. There we go. Alright, let's get a hero. Go for the scout. Yep, that's fine. I don't have much imagination, so I'll just call him Muddy Archer. I think he looks pretty decent. Let's see what kind of troops we have. It's always the same. It's always the bowman and spearman. So we're gonna get him. We don't have any magic yet. Hopefully that won't be necessary. I do think I'm forgetting something. It's really embarrassing to say after 400 hours in the game, but we'll just have to see what kind of defense is in these settlements. This is also something that people that play the game, or people that are looking to play the game, have to keep in mind. That this advice here from the AI can be terribly wrong. It wouldn't be the first time that he says, oh well, we could easily win this, and it's really not the case. There's some fights that you that you really can't win. In certain circumstances, I should say. So I've had these things pop up where he thinks, oh yeah, you can kill this dragon, go for it. And I'm thinking, because after my 400 hours, I do feel that I'm kind of slightly experienced in knowing what my army can do and cannot do. But yeah, just keep that in mind, and I'm sure the people that play the game actively already came to that conclusion. So it can be kind of hilarious. That we can easily destroy them, and yeah, that's not going to happen. This is doable. Now we have to keep in mind that the bowman that we get, he basically has no armor penetration, if I can call it that, precise shot. So he is very dependent on getting targets that don't have much of ranged defense. But even then, it should be okay. I mean, Scout is going to be, my hero is going to be fine, and we have a Swordsman, which is still one of my favorite units in the game. It recently changed, but Swordsman used to be my favorite unit by far. And I recently started playing some different setups, and I ran into this unit, and I'm not going to really spoil it because that's the direction I want to go in with this playthrough. But that unit is just, for me, hands down the best unit in the game. For its rank and for the price and for what it can do. And I don't want to use it as a teaser, but you guys will see if you follow this. Anyways, let's get going. So I usually go over them, see what they have on the right hand. On the left hand bottom here, you see their stats, and on the right hand box of that, you see their range defense. They basically have hardly anything, so this is going to be easy. Always try to focus on the ranged slingers. They can be annoying, especially if they get at higher levels and they start getting their double shot. It's just annoying. Maybe, I don't know, it's just my focus. So again, like I said, I'm not really going to do a tutorial. Sometimes it will be a little bit long-winded and I will talk a lot. I apologize in advance, but that's the way I'm wired, I guess. Also, I don't like the whole skipping of the animation stuff, where you can turn it off so you don't have to wait for them to move. For me, that is part of the game. It's part of the fun for me. And yeah, I'm going to leave that on. You can see the bowman potential damage is between 1 and 4 on this guy, because that guy has, if you look at the bottom, he has 2 range defense. Basically here. And the bowman is very, very vulnerable to that. And anything higher than 2, and he hardly will do any damage. These guys have no defense at all, so he can easily do some damage on them. It's not really much, but it's fine. I tried to get my swordsman before my spearman, because my swordsman is stronger in defense. So I'm gonna move him back a little bit. Especially since I don't have a heal and I really don't want to get unnecessary damage. Okay, so he's probably gonna hit the swordsman. Okay. Nope. So while I was yakking a lot, I was basically making already some mistakes, because you don't want this to happen. Let's see. The thing about the swordsman is, and I'm not really sure, I've seen several people play on YouTube and on Twitch. Well, actually on Twitch, hardly anybody plays this game anymore. But on YouTube, I've seen some people play it. And the whole thing about the swordsman is that I think the best approach is for him literally not to attack. So, especially when he starts leveling and he gets his parry skill up, he becomes an extremely strong defender that can counterattack and parry instead of using him to actually actively attack. Because he just turns into this, well, let's call it a rock that you can barely break through at the early game. Because yeah, in the middle and late game, he's very, very mediocre, to be honest. Especially when you get better units. Okay, so keep an eye on him. He has range 5 now because he stands on this mountain or the hill, which gives him 1 range further than normal. So he's able to throw there, so we're fine. He has range 5 by default. I'm going to check him out. He has no special skills, so he can make 2 moves, so he can actually move, and I think he can actually get up here and then hit him. So we're going to pull him back, a little bit of damage. I'm going to move him forward. I'm going to move him here. Now he can reach him, but that is okay. Also, to be completely honest, this unit is not something that I would normally keep. Often enough, I replace him right away in the beginning to get another swordsman, because the spearman is not something I'm not really impressed with that unit. So if I lose him, it's fine. Of course, it doesn't mean that we want to sacrifice the guy right away, but also, what I started doing is I tried to get the killing blows to the units instead of the hero to make them level further and faster. It depends kind of on the unit, because right now there's no point for this guy, even though I will probably use him to kill this guy. Actually, no, I don't. For me, it's more important that the swordsman gets more experience, because this guy is not going to stay with us. Because you don't want an army where the hero gets all the killing blows and all the experience, and you end up with units that basically are completely useless, especially mid-game. See, the thing about the swordsman is, and I really want to point this out, is he starts with 2 points in parry. And parry is, I have to admit, it's one of the things that I really underestimated when I played the game in the beginning. It basically means that when the unit is attacked in melee for the first time during current turn, its defense is increased by, in this case, 2. Now, as this unit levels, he will actually get the option at some points to increase this number. And you can so often see units parry 4 or 6. So right now he has a defense of 3, but that means that if there's a unit that hits him for the first time in the turn, in the enemy turn, then right now his defense would actually be 5, so that is quite a significant increase. And that's why I said, you know, the best way I like using the unit is literally putting him somewhere and only attack if it really, really makes a big difference. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit him there and he can act like a rock. And just with a high parry number like 4 or 6, I mean, that unit, especially in the mid game, is just really, really, really strong. But we have to get to this guy. Yes, because that's the thing about slingers. They usually have a lot of ammunition. So if you look in the bottom, you see these multiple arrows with the number 6. So he's going to throw 6 times, very likely, at this guy. Or he might try to walk and kill this guy. We'll see. Nope, he just keeps on throwing. It's fine. This guy has a ranged defense of 5, so that's pretty decent. Well, I don't want to lose him yet. Move my guy closer. 4, 5. So he can come close and reach him. It would be great if he can get the killing blow, of course. But then again, the bowman is also not somebody who's going to hang out with us much longer. Or I should say, he's not going to be there in the mid and end game for me. Okay, worked out well. So we can give him some levels and... Okay, so now we can... Let's see what we're gonna get. I usually go for the range attack right away. This, for me, it normally is a really nice medal, if we can call it that, or, you know, reward, but for 8 gold upkeep for a unit that I'm not gonna keep, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so they are not happy with the ancient runes in their province. And that is actually significant, because that means that it actually affects their happiness level. Well, my problem is that I don't have a healer. I don't have the... I should probably get rid of that. I might get rid of that pike. Spearman, or pikeman, no, spearman. Okay, let's see. And they are goblins, so that could actually be quite a intimidating battle at this point. Yeah, he has no health, but... Okay. I usually explore in the province a little bit in the beginning to get their numbers up so I don't have to come back here every time, because the percentage of exploration is important for the province to grow. If they grow fast, then the amount of that you have explored, then they don't want to grow anymore, and they get actually unhappy. So you want to avoid that. But right now, this is only a village, and 39 is not a bad number, but I can't do much anyways, because my guy is recovering. Yeah, that's gonna wait a little. The thing about a vampire is that he basically heals from the amount of damage that he does. He's not too difficult to kill. It's, you know, he's easy to kill before, even before mid game. But right now, of course, I can't really do that. Okay, so we got the healer that we could potentially get as soon as I get another open space here. Or I would have to replace him, but I really don't want to do that. I'm gonna do it anyways, otherwise it gets too boring. We should be okay. You don't really want to dismiss certain soldiers at this point in time because it's just costing money, but in this case I don't have the space for the healer, so get rid of him. I normally don't do this, but we'll see how it goes. The provinces, or I should say maybe capital castle, is 60% explored, which is fine, and there's only a very, very small settlement, so that will grow just fine for a while. Okay, I'm gonna keep expanding. Actually, yeah. Income is still positive. You want to keep some gold stockpiled because there are certain random events that sometimes will ask you to spend some gold in order to fix something that went totally wrong in a province. So you don't want to be spending too much because it can be really, really painful. That's 6. Yeah, we should be okay. We have to keep in mind that we only have, well, 3 damage dealers. Okay. So they got one slinger. They got all these people these militia that have really no range defense, which is easy. So this is the guy with a little bit of range defense, but that should be fine. Okay. I'm gonna put him here. I don't think we're gonna need the healer, but let's see, they have moved too, so they are actually coming pretty fast. Alright, so we're gonna focus with the scout. He's gonna hit the guy with the range defense. So. Let's see what these guys, are they going to go this way? Are they going to go that way? Would love to put them on a rock here, of course. And if I put them on a rock, I can focus on shooting these guys. That might actually be best. Yeah, I think that works fine. Okay. Yeah, I can attack, but not gonna do it. Because the thing is, when you attack, yeah, sure, he does between 5 and 8 damage to this guy, but this guy's gonna hit him back. And maybe he will only hit him back for 2 or 3. But that's unnecessary damage that you're gonna take right now. And also keep in mind that when you attack, that parry ability that I mentioned does not come into account. So it's not gonna increase your defense because you're actually attacking a unit. And that parry ability only works in the first defensive action in the opponent's turn, if that is correct, the way I phrase it, but... So let's see... This guy can't reach him... Okay, we should be good. It also says parry. Literally, I don't think he took any damage at all. And he hit this guy for, I don't know. I wasn't looking at the number. Now this guy is able to reach... With his 2 steps, he can reach him, so I'm just gonna... Yeah, these guys are far away, so is all fine. I don't even have to heal. I'm gonna do it with the scout. Because like I said, the bowman at some point is gonna be leaving us. This is of course very handy. Now I can give him +1 in morale, or I can basically make his upkeep less, and his morale doesn't really matter much to me. And again, you're not interested in that. I always go for the counterattack, especially since I'm using him always in defensive stance. You know, using as a defensive unit, so... Let's see, explore for 39. Okay, you can see the phase there. They're okay with us. These guys are. It's usually the case when you conquer a new province. They're a little bit discontent, but that should go away, hopefully. There's one known site. Then again, more will pop up when we start exploring here. Well, we didn't take any damage. Now, this is very likely going to be a little bit too tough for us. But... this might be interesting. I'm going to try that one. And no, I'm not going to build any structures. I'm going to kind of stockpile to get a little bit of a buffer going. I have a bowman, which has a longer range than the slinger, but it should be okay. There's only 5 units, so we should be fine. Of course, it really helps us if there's hills, because we have 2 people that get +1 to their range, so 6 and 6 in this case. I can actually park him here, so that's a nice spot. Let's see. See, these 2 guys do a lot, well, relatively a lot of damage early on, but they have no defense, range defense, so it should be okay. He's just outside of our reach. But I can actually move to... No, it's fine. Let's see, he has range 5 now, so it's... We can move him here. Put a healer there and he can reach everybody. Normally he's healing has a range of 1. But right now it's 2 because he stands on the hill. He's gonna shoot. In this case, I'm gonna let him attack. He's not gonna get a counterattack in because he's dead. Okay, I was wrong about that. We can't reach him yet, but that's fine. Okay. Move him here. That would be nice. This is a unit that will be with us quite some time to come. Also, what happens is when you at some point get another hero, or you purchase another hero, you can actually use these, I would call them early game units, if they're leveled up, and you can actually give them to the new hero, so he doesn't start with a whole fresh batch of recruits. command means that I can actually get an additional person in my army. Not that I'm going to do that right now, because let's look at our income. I do think we have a pretty decent start because we have the ability to conquer 3 provinces. And plus 21 is actually not bad at all. So that is it's pretty solid. Oh, that province needs some serious exploring. But I was thinking about leaving it here for now, so we had a pretty good start. Next episode I will talk a little bit more about what I really want to do and what path and setup I want to follow. In my first series I really went for the Dwarf Alliance, which was a lot of fun. But I can already reveal that in this series playthrough I will go for the Alliance with the Elves. I'm really looking forward to playing that. Well, I'm going to leave it here, and I hope you guys will be there next time to join me on my journey. For now, I want to thank you for watching. Please take care and be safe.